my second retro YouTuber tribute is on a person I have watched so many times since 2010. Yeah, 11 years ago, and I was 11 to 12 years old back then, all because I got nothing better to do despite playing video games. Sometimes my life back then, I was mostly ahead of time, but not for the right reasons that people can easily agree with me on. What is AzureBlade49? Well, he used to make videos on YouTube back in the late 2000s, and he's also really hilarious with his rage moments, and sometimes his profanity goes a little too far, but this is literally what gamers usually do wherever they're completely on doing profanity stuff. And this was at a time where YouTubers were new, and the fact that YouTube was actually a new playground for people to make different kinds of videos. Let me put this in perspective that what I actually like about AzureBlade49 is he really has a great history with so many people, even though that he's not really an active user on YouTube that much. Granted, he is doing other things at the meantime, but since that he really focuses on making videos while he does playthroughs of video games that he enjoys the most, I really got nothing against him. I mean, his first video was on Kaizo Mario World, and if you don't know what Kaizo Mario World is, it's Super Mario World, but it's ridiculously difficult, and people have been making mods of Mario World to make it really challenging. Yeah, this was before Super Mario Maker was a thing in 2014, 15, or 16 or something. And let me tell you is that the amount of videos that he does involving Kaizo, despite not getting much viewers as viewers of today, he's basically the first walkthroughers who completely did hilarious moments, but also waging on video games that were considered difficult. If you really think that these are the type of videos that didn't actually exist back then, well, I proved you wrong. I completely showed you videos of it. And let's just say that his videos involving Super Smash Bros. Brawl back then were its latest and it's still new at the time. He really made Smash Bros. Brawl a very phenomenal game. Trust me. Back then, well, you could completely watch fights of people making videos, and the fact that he did this with his friends of J. Malmus, if I actually spell his name right, and like Nico. And he completely called them the BS battles. Yeah, the BS battles. And if you saw that on the screen, you pretty much know that the initials that I said were completely unnecessary, but I don't curse. What I really found his video content entertaining is the fact that he actually made multiplayer really entertaining. This is one of the reasons onto why I want my brother to take me to his friend's house so that we can play Mario Kart. But granted, we don't do that anymore because we got older and we do different things. But at the same time, it was still a good memory all because of these videos. And let me just say that despite these videos being on video games I haven't played, I was actually desperate into getting these video games when I was a longer age. Yeah, at a time where PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii were literally the only options to play video games. Which is honestly depressing on how the world we live in, of how well video games are at the time that they get old and they don't sell anymore. Although I can say for how AzureBlade49 is a really hilarious YouTuber and he really does the best of making great jokes, I'm still not really interested in his content, not at the fact that he's no longer active, but his videos are mostly old. Not like in old, like in not really as good as other YouTubers in the present day. which is mostly disappointing. Because while obviously YouTubers do these videos in the past and they're not really active in the present because they are focusing on their own individual lives, it really makes me depressed that we're probably not going to see AzureBlade49 give his thoughts on the modern games of today. Most of his videos are basically on the retro games of the past, despite with video games being released during the time of 2008 or 9. Although I can see that he just wants to focusing on his own life since that he's getting a little too burned out into doing these types of videos. Regardless of him taking his own direction in life, I can totally understand, and I do have to admit that watching these old videos, despite not being as good as I used to remember, are basically nostalgic acts of what I had when it comes to YouTube back in the earlier 2010s. If you really believe me, 2010s is actually the vibe of me getting to all this type of stuff on YouTube, which pretty much explains why I'm mostly a 2010s guy, like a tens in a decade. And I can tell that the 2020s is gonna have a war with me since that 2020 was a terrible year, but that's not the point of what I'm discussing. AzureBlade49, if you're watching this, I understand that you're no longer active and it's really difficult to continuing on doing these types of videos, but for me personally, you're still a really good person and a really hilarious person when it comes to your efforts into making these videos from the past. Sometimes I wish that you would come back, but by the looks of it, it's gonna take a long time for you to actually get back into video making, although after nearly 5 years since your last video has been uploaded, or 4, I can guarantee you that you probably pick your own decision to move on with your life. Which is why this video is a retro YouTuber tribute of your channel and yourself.
Let's get this started again. Me and my whole crew.